Hi guys. Welcome to 10 Very Big.
I thought it was a call and response.
No.
Hey, India.
That's what I was going for.
Oh, actually, that could be a good thing. Here we
Let's do it. Let's do it. Restart it.
Hi guys.
Hey, India.
Welcome to 10 Very Big Books, a Malazan Readthrough podcast. My name is India, and I have not read every book in the main series. I actually have read maybe 7.5 of them. Well, yeah, maybe 8. I don't know. With me today are my 3 besties.
Wow.
My first bestie and foremost, PB, Peter. Welcome. How you feeling, bud?
I'm fucking hot as hell, baby. What's up? Cooking with oil.
Wow.
We are sizzling. It is steamy today. Second, but not second in my heart, Josh, how you feeling?
I am hungover a little bit, but you know what? We're here.
Sounds like a good night. And third, but first and second in my life as well, AJ, how's it going?
Hello, I'm good. I'm honestly a little worried. Pete's got an alternative recording set up this week, and I'm worried that the microphone's not on.
The microphone is on. Does it not sound on?
I know, no, it sounds on. I'm just always worried whenever anything changes about any of our setups.
Well,
That is fair. Things tend to go wrong on this crazy podcast we call life.
That's deep, dude.
can I tell you guys a secret?
Oh, please.
No. India's the host.
Steal my thunder, why don't you, Peter?
I was like, didn't it be really funny if when I started the podcast, I said I was like horny as hell, you know? I thought that would be a funny joke that our podcast listeners might like.
But you went to hot as hell.
I
went to
backed
hot,
out
yeah.
because I felt like I was being too lewd. And then it felt like, honestly, I thought of this idea 3 weeks ago. So then it was like, man, you've been sitting on this rad joke for a long time. You didn't even, you backed out at the last minute. So
Jesus.
I guess I would just like to say I'm sorry to the fans for disappointing you. And that's all I'm sorry. Thank you, everybody.
I am consistently horny all the time. Could it just be my period? Maybe. But we should also, if you actually, you know what? Let's not get into this because this is not what this is about.
Shit.
But that's what you get when I'm hosting the show. So before I get into explaining the menstruation cycle to you, we might as well get into chapter 13.
Fuck yeah.
But you know,
Similar vibes.
but nice.
What were you gonna say, Pete?
Well, I was gonna
Peter,
say
please.
that, menstruation's like a cycle and like civilizations and time is like a cycle. So when you think about it, but I felt like that's kind of a reach, you know?
I definitely don't think it's a reach. In fact, there are multiple phases. It's cyclical.
Yeah.
People menstruate in these books. So,
Not a sentence I was ready for this morning.
We're fast
All right.
and loose. It's kind of like the uncut version, except cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I hate to read, and write. So AJ did both. Thanks, AJ. AJ does it all.
Welcome. Chapter 13. Gruntle and the rest of the Tregal Trade Guild crew are accosted by the dead in Hood's Warren. Gruntle notices that the army of dead is marching in the same direction. Emerging onto a small island, Quell says that there's no longer a gate to Hood's realm. Sweetest Sufferance tells Faint about the Revenants. Faint asks how Sweetest's grandfather was around when Hood took the Revenants. Sweetest talks about the Merchants of Blood, the army that will fight on Defiance last. A final battle. Quell thinks all the guild's Warren travel is scarring the universe. He says the dead sleep no more. Precious Thimble thinks about her place amongst the Bowl brothers as Ambi and Eula fight over her. She recalls her rite of passage spent buried in peat to separate her soul from her body. Gruntle and Mappo see Precious Thimble's ethereal form return to her body. Gruntle dreams that he is a massive tiger. He is approached by early humans and can understand them. They say there's a leopard hunting them, and Gruntle begins his hunt. Finding the leopard, she explains that her soul has also traveled through time. She tells Gruntle that they are both ridden. They part ways. In Dragnipur, Ditch is brought to the top of the pile of bodies in the wagon bed by Draconis. Here, Ditch meets Kataspala, the brother of Andarist's wife. Kataspala rambles about patterns and tells Ditch that he had tried to kill Draconis to claim the sword. Kataspala says that Ditch is the Nexus. Ditch asks how Kataspala came to be blind, and he says that he blinded himself after seeing what Rake had done to his sister and Andarist. Apsalar thinks about how her biggest mistake was trying to stab Animander Rake after he discovered her sneaking around Moonspawn. Under the wagon, she can sense the Chaos Storm growing closer. Back in Darujistan, rumors begin spreading about the Assassin's Guild getting too big for its britches. Ralak Nam talks with Kroot about the guild and then goes for a walk, thinking about how things used to be easier. In her garden, Thordy thinks about Gaz killing all those people in order to spare her life. She tells Gaz to be a plant, worry about nothing, until the harvest. Sortico Qualm goes to a meeting, Iskarl Pust in tow. The pair meet up with Lady Envy as she says goodbye to Fisher. Envy immediately grows tired of Pust, but the Magus of Shadow says that he arrived here on a boat with Lady Spite. Cutter thinks about last night with Chalice and how they've both grown. He does a lot of thinking, but resolves to meet with Chalice at a small apartment in the evening. Scalara is in the basement while the dead Malazans are buried. She thinks about the look Duiker had given her when he realized that she had inadvertently saved his life. Fisher arrives and pledges himself to the cause. Fisher says he can call in an old favor. There's a crash, and the crew discovers a dead Segula was in a cask. Krupp brings us around the city. Stony can't sleep. Torvald thinks about the guild rumors and wonders who the lady is. Harlow and his minder have both been whipped. Harlow tries to come up with a cover story, but Bainisk doesn't believe him. From deep in the mines, Dev Ad Anantol makes use of the Imlava legs. He recalls Raced crushing his legs after he challenged the Jag. He finds his stash of weapons hasn't moved. He thinks there's an empty throne waiting for him.
Coming to you, Josh. I know how much you love Grundle.
Grundle?
Grundles are not this. We're talking about Gruntle.
What is a Grundle?
Grundle is a piece of toilet paper stuck to your butt.
What the fuck did you just say to me?
You
That
can look
is
it up on
not-
Urban Dictionary.
That is not what I was taught a Grundle was growing up.
That's what I've been taught a Grundle is.
I was taught that a Grundle is just straight up the taint.
What is
Oh.
going on?
The only thing I know about the taint is whenever someone's like, what's the taint again? And I always respond with, well, it taint a dick and it taint an asshole, because it's the spot between.
There you
And I
go.
think that's so funny to me.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Okay. All that to say,
I
this
do
all
like
needs to be cut
Gruntle.
out. This all is just so inappropriate. So let's dial it back.
It's so funny. Recently, I've been like, maybe we should really have the show be more PG.
We're already so deep in, Pete. We're not going to go and re-record the old stuff.
Yeah.
So we're with the trade guild. We're going, you know, in Hood's little realm. And we see a bunch of like dead soldiers just like marching. We don't know where they're going. We don't know if they're running. We don't know if they're coming back. We don't know what's happening. What did you make of like this opening scene? Did you like it? Were you interested? Were you invested?
I mean, I thought it was sick just because anytime you're like, hey, we're going to have a scene of this like flaming chariot blasting into the realm of the dead and then has to fight their way through until they can blast out again, Team Rocket style. I mean, that's always going to be really good for me. So I love just like the goofiness of it to start. As far as the implications when I was reading this of like what was going on, I've stopped thinking about the implications. I have this new strategy where when I'm not sure, I just go, Steve will tell me. And so at the time I was just like, look, they're going somewhere and I'm not going to know where or understand where until we're there in a POV. So that was about as far as my brain went with it. But overall, pretty sick stuff.
Weirdly, I find myself pretty disconnected from a lot of this stuff.
What?
Listen, I love this. I love a good skeleton. Don't get me wrong. Are there bones involved? Please. It's like there's a fun wagon. I love these two characters. However, I don't know. I don't feel like, isn't he here to do a job? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't feel like I have the personal buy-in to the Trigal Trade Guild's work. Do you know what I mean? I kind of feel like I'm along with Gruntle as he does a day job. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Is that not what this is?
Yeah, that's how I felt too, and I liked it.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is, but I don't know if I can get invested any more than just like, oh, it's like fun that there's skeletons and blah, blah, blah. And then you do the Army of the Dead stuff, which is a whole other thing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, look, I thought it was fun. I didn't think too much more past it. When we get into a little stuff a little bit later where they start being like, maybe we're destroying the world with our Trigal Trade Guild stuff, I was like, I could not care less about that. You
Josh,
are
anti-environmentalist Josh Baker.
Is it environmental though? Or is it like intra-environmental?
Oh.
Is it environmental or is it out-environmental?
Yeah. For the record, though, no, I do
questions.
I like to go buy non-stick pans and then just scrape the stuff off with metal and then throw it directly into the water stream. Really just speed this whole process right the fuck up.
Well, the thing is, AJ, even if this had a negative effect on the world or something, kind of the market would correct it. And then over time, kind of a competitor would arise and kind of self-correct. So.
Oh, yes, of course. The competitors.
But
How can I
also,
forget?
guys, okay, so I guess my question now is more so like, I don't know if this is a real question or if this is just like a what do you think question, but was there a Hood's Gate before? Like, we always hear about it.
Yes.
Where the fuck did it go?
Well, we've seen Hood's Gate several times, the latest being when Talk was their last book.
You know, I always thought of like Hood's Gate as like Heaven's Gate, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is India, but also we've seen heavens and stuff in this book, in these books, so I don't know where it's gone, though. That is a big question, considering that, like, timelines, who knows, but, like, you know, less than a year or two ago, we saw Hood's Gate and it existed, so.
Right.
Something's happened since.
Yeah.
Now, if there is no Hood's Gate, can people still die?
That seems to be the question.
That's the question, yeah.
Is that the
where's
question?
everyone that's dying right now, where are they going? Like the Malazans, the bridge burners that just died, are they just kind of chilling, waiting somewhere?
Which
Unclear.
bridge burners that just died?
The ones in the tavern.
Blue Pearl and...
Yeah, Mallet. Yeah, where are they at?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, especially since Mallet did directly say, open the gate, Whiskey Jack, or kick down the gate or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's Mallet being like, once again, super connected to Warrens and shit, or if that was just like poetic language from Mallet. That's kind of unfortunate in retrospect.
I thought it was poetic, but yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Looking back.
Well, I will say this. When Gruntle was a tiger, this was good. Anytime there's a big tiger involved, I'm very interested in the story.
You are skipping way ahead, but
Yeah, bud.
I was just looking.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was just peeking at the script. I just needed to slip in there. I love a big tiger.
yeah, we all love the big tiger.
I've been really thinking about, I've been considering just getting black stripes tattooed on my body so that I could just be a big tiger all the time.
Oh, Jesus.
You know what I mean?
That wouldn't be a bad idea. That would not be a bad idea.
I don't see any repercussions.
So Quell later on is talking to, I think Mappo, and I totally forgot that Mappo was even involved in this, by the way. Did anybody else?
A little bit when we were first reading.
But he's starting to think that, I guess, all this traveling through the Warrens is destroying them, scarring them in some way. I guess kind of makes sense, but also, like, haven't we been doing this forever, guys? Wink, wink. Maybe I'm anti-global warming in the Malazan world, which is what I feel like I'm going to liken this to. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, like, when you think about it, the Trigal Trade Guild is just some sort of, like, fucked up version of Amazon Prime where they're, like, you know, running through Warrens and stuff without any disregard for the terror they're leaving behind or, like, the horses
don't they all
lose.
Do that kind of?
What?
Haven't we all just been running through the Warrens, not really thinking about
I mean,
the...
it's...
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's definitely it's definitely not like a specific commentary on just delivery services and especially at the time. Well, actually, I don't remember when this book came out. 2008. So there was no, you know.
Yeah, I think it's a little pre that type of stuff.
Yeah. But it's still just like, you know, hey, we're doing all this stuff for the sake of what? Things? Or, you know, because people give us money to do this thing. I don't know. I feel like
the
it's
shareholders.
Definitely... Right, exactly. The shareholder. Yeah, exactly. Calling them shareholders is like just kind of putting it right there for you. But I do think it's, I don't know, interesting to get kind of in a what about our carbon emissions talk, you know, like.
And what would be the implications of this then? I wonder. Like they just stopped, then magic is just over, or is there still magic?
Well, I think they're saying. I think at one point Master Quill says the words like we're sowing chaos through the Warrens or something, which I think is, you know, that's the crippled god's whole shtick is chaos. So if the crippled god is kind of this like faraway power or whatever, the Trigal Trade Guild running through the Warrens and stuff is kind of allowing the crippled god to reach his little fingers into all the Warrens and stuff.
To be honest, I totally forgot about the crippled god as well.
I mean, that's fair because he's not like we talked about the what is it, the dying god for a while, and we're like, yeah, that's the crippled god, and then it wasn't.
Oh yeah.
So now I don't even know what the crippled god's up to.
Yep. That has really changed like so much for me in this book is knowing that whole plotline had fucking nothing to do with the crippled god.
Yeah.
I just feel like it must have been a little intentional, and we just kind of fell right into it. We fell
I think you're totally right.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
We're a bunch of fools here on the podcast.
You know how Steve do. All right.
I don't know. I would actually love to hear from our listeners. I at no point made that conflation, but the three of you were pretty convinced, and I wasn't going to disabuse you of the notion. So I'd be curious to know how many listeners also thought that. So.
Okay. Also, let's be real. These chapters kind of sucked.
I love these chapters.
I kind of agree. There's like some cool stuff that happens, but for the most part, it's kind of just like, here's where a bunch of people are. Like, this is the most, like, I feel like, I mean, that's the book, but also I just, you know.
No, this was like painful. But I understand, like, you know, I don't really prepare for this at all, let's be honest. But what I do is look up what people think about it so that I could form my own opinions. Ha ha ha, because I can't form my own opinions. Because I'm a Gemini and I don't have to explain that to anyone. But anyway, people really love. And honestly, I feel like Josh is the people's people. Josh is the voice of the people for me in this podcast. And I'll tell you why, because every take that Josh like ever is like, this was fucking sick. I look it up and it's like, yeah, that was fucking sick. People loved that. I.e. the dead army, the Trigal Trade Guild blast off. People liked that. People were like, this is cinematic genius. I said, this isn't even a movie. It's a book. But this is just, let me just ask you this question really quick. When you're reading these books, are you visualizing or are you just reading words?
We cannot have this conversation on the podcast.
It's just a 1, 2, 3. I'm just yes or no.
I feel like we've had this conversation
We've
before.
had this conversation like the 5th time we're bringing this up on the show.
Guys, I just can't understand. It's just words. It's so awful. I hate it. But anyway, sweetest sufferance. Her grandpa worked for Hood, maybe? I don't really know. Honestly, no idea. No, completely lost about this blood versus honey all over your body situation. Completely lost about anything that was discussed there with, I think, faint.
Yeah, faint and sweetest sufferance. India, I fully agree. This was like, we're dropping words and we're like, yeah, and it's connected to Hood. You know Hood. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure. It's like, yeah, the Revenants? Yeah. Remember, you just learned about One-Eyed Cat? Like, okay, yeah. It's like, yeah, the Segula from One-Eyed Cat led the Revenants. And then also, apparently that was a really long time ago.
Right.
And also the flies thing, everybody gets it wrong. Nobody really understands the flies thing. And I was like, sure, I guess this is what we're doing.
The fly stuff was nonsensical.
Nothing about this is sexy. Let's just be clear. Except for Chalice. But
nice. Yeah, just like very, like, I feel like maybe I should have been like, oh, wow, interesting. But I was also just like, I mean, kind of just like, this is just a bunch of words.
Yeah.
And also what Josh was saying earlier was like, I will get this at some point. Like, I'll understand the relevance of this eventually. So I guess I'm just going to read over it right now.
Exactly.
And keep note of a place called Defiance Last for a final battle or some shit. I guess I'll put that in my back pocket.
Yeah, I already forgot about that. So
yeah, I don't fucking know, dude.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add on any of that, to be honest. Question for the listeners, what did you think about anything there? I have no idea what it means. I have no thoughts. If you're reading it, like, I wonder if anybody that listens to this is like reading it along with us.
Definitely.
A lot of
some
people in
do.
here. Not a lot, I guess, but some, yeah.
There's a contingent.
I am asking you right now to literally just give me 5 sentences about what this meant to you. That's really that's all I need. Because for me, words, no idea. Also, these names, awful.
Yeah.
Hate it. But let's get into that. I was just wondering if it made any sense to you guys, and I'm glad that
No.
PB, anything? Your face is telling me, like, those eyes are speaking volumes. That little mouth smirk you're doing, volumes. You're giving me major, when you roll your eyes like that, Jack Harlow vibes, and
Oh my God.
Wow.
you gotta stop.
That's high
What a
praise.
compliment, yeah.
Yeah, my toes
High
are crying.
praise, please. I have a lot to say, but I think we should keep going and maybe dive into that big old sword we love to call Dragnapur and like see what's going on in there.
Before we jump into the big old sword, Dragnapur, we need to just quickly stop at Precious Thimble and how she was essentially buried for days to end multiple people and then kill. Like, didn't a lot of them die too? Did I understand that correctly? So that they were able to separate their souls and do some astral projection shit? Is that what happened?
You got it.
Yeah.
Great. Guys, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Where does she come from? And why is that a thing? And why do people die? And why, if they have like, only because
that middle question was pretty deep.
She said that they have like a little straw to breathe out of. So what are you dying for?
Well, she also said that she was 4 years old and buried for 2 days.
This sounds a lot like last book, India. Remember the Red Mask tribe buried their kids?
Could it be a coincidence that it sounds something like that?
They could perhaps
know.
be connected.
It could be.
You know, and I also don't care.
There's a great show called The Sinner, and season 3 of The Sinner revolves around people burying themselves alive to like test, to break their minds. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. The Sinner's fucked, dude.
The Sinner is fucked.
Are you getting paid by Jessica Biel or something? What the fuck's going on that you guys are doing so many Sinner
Jessica,
plugs?
Jessica Biel's not in The Sinner.
She's in the first season, but she's executive producer of the rest of them.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know she got EP. Good for her.
I'm pretty sure she's EP or something. Pete, you wanted to skip ahead to Dragnapur, but you skipped the part that you brought up 10 minutes ago about Gruntle being a big fucking tiger.
I already said what I wanted to say about that. Besides, like, do you think they were flirting? And
oh yeah, hundo P.
100%.
Who's flirting?
Right?
Yeah,
the panther and
Gruntle
the tiger.
yeah.
If there is any sexual anything between this panther and this tiger, I'm done with these books.
Gruntle,
the thing
Mappo, am I seeing some sort of connection here? I don't know. I feel like they would kind of be a good pair, just saying. Think about it.
Could be.
2 big guys.
Too many emotions.
Too
Too many
many
feelings.
Do you think Gruntle's a really emotional guy?
Yeah, I do.
Why do you think he's not, Pete? Because he can turn
Literally,
into a tiger.
literally.
Tigers have feelings too.
Nice.
And not to mention, like, if somebody, let's talk. Yeah, we didn't even talk about the tiger thing.
They're both ridden.
That's what the leopard says, which I think just means like their spirits are like riding the souls of these animals, which means they're in control. And that's why she also says like when we leave, these tigers or these animals still hunt or whatever, because Gruntle was like, well, I'm not going to kill these humans. And then she was like, well, it doesn't really matter because once you leave, the tiger's going to do whatever the tiger's going to fucking do.
Right.
To be fair, I never knew that was the situation. I, in fact, thought that he turned into a tiger.
Well,
it depends.
Kind of. He can turn into a tiger, but this is like he's having a dream as a tiger.
AJ,
know what
I
I
hear
mean?
you, but I was almost thinking about it in connection to Gruntle and Memories of Ice, where it's like, is this more about him being ridden and like he is being used by Drake? And do you know what I mean? Like he is ridden as he is the mount to be rode upon, you know? But I think what you said also is good. So I think they can both.
Yeah. I do agree, but she then brings up later that something about them being unridden. So it's like when this leopard and tiger are unridden, they were just going to do what they're going to do. So I think
Right.
Yeah, I think you got me there.
When I'm unridden, I do what I'm going to do. Too.
exactly. we all just do what we're going to do.
You got to give in to the animal, man.
I'm curious if the Eris all are like old humans, right? Is that correct?
Seems like there's
or not
some
the
sort of
aerosol.
precursor to humans.
Yeah.
But haven't we met a precursor to humans?
Yeah. You're talking about the mage from the fourth book who went and saw his dad Laoric, and there were those old humans there.
Yes.
Whose name I've forgotten right now.
Yeah, I can't.
You are hurting my brain. I do not know what you're talking about.
From book 4, what's the high mage?
Laoric and Osric.
Yeah. When Laoric goes and visits his dad Osric in that past thing, he sees those,
and they see ancient humans.
Yes.
Yeah, they see the race that was like, they see old humans. Yeah,
are they not the Eris then?
I guess they are. That's
what I'm asking. Are they or are they not? Because they don't say. I mean, I guess because Gruntle doesn't know, right? I guess.
I don't know. Is it just seems like it's metaphorical, or it's just like it's about the mood, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe I'm reading too much into this mood piece.
But AJ, I think you're right. Let's say it is. So, why not? Stop me. You can't stop me.
Okay, so are we're good? And when you say aerosol, do you mean the people that like are prayed for him to come and help them, and then he came?
Yes.
So he went back in time?
Yes. I mean, yeah, I guess so.
This is the stupidest fucking thing. This is the stupidest thing, but whatever.
Yeah, the humans knew they were being hunted by the leopard, so they prayed to Drake, I guess, and then we're like, hey, save us. And then Drake was like, okay, I'll send my boy from 2 million years in the future. He'll know what to do.
And
nothing. He talked to the leopard and was like, I'm not gonna let you hurt them. And she's like, okay, that doesn't matter because as soon as I leave, it's just gonna do whatever it's gonna do anyway.
These books are good. Loving it. Loving life.
I love them.
Yeah, for the record, Pete and I had a conversation last week, I think, before we were originally supposed to record, and Pete had tweeted like 2 hours after we talked from the 10 Very Big Books account, is like, I don't care what anybody says, Till the Hounds is actually a really good book.
Yeah, it is a good book.
Which, like, this is what I was smirking about earlier, and it makes me feel like such a fucking loser, because it's like, we start this Malazan podcast, and like, I was the one who was like, guys, we should read these books. And it's like, Peter probably likes these books. Doesn't Peter? And it's like, maybe.
to be fair, when you pitched this, I think you did like the books.
Yeah. And
then
I feel like I had like a very rebellious teenager phase around books 4 or 5, where I was like, you know what? I don't even like these books. I've never been a fan of Malazan in my life. And now it's like I'm back to reading these books all the time, and I'm like thinking about all these books. Yeah. I read these chapters and was like, man, I loved these chapters. I cried, I was like, damn it. Yeah. It's like, fucking, of course I like Malazan. How fucking embarrassing. I have a Malazan podcast and I like the books and think they're good. Christ.
Pete, you can't fall into the being genuine is cringe, you can't fall into that.
It just feels like it's cliche. I have a Malazan podcast, and then people would think, oh, well, Peter probably likes the books then.
Yeah.
And you know what?
The fuck are you talking about? Why would you hate start a podcast unless you're a fucking idiot?
Have you met Peter?
So yeah, no, I like the books, okay? And you can't, you know what? You can't put me in prison, okay?
I don't know if we need to do that.
In the sword, we're going into Dragnapur because everybody wants to go in, but
Everybody's dying to
I
get
wouldn't
in.
want to go in. So everybody, we're going in. We meet Ditch. Did we just meet Ditch?
We met Ditch a while ago.
We meet Ditch in the
Right?
prologue, and I think this is the
Yeah.
next time we've seen him. If I recall, we
Okay.
have not checked in with Ditch in 600 pages or something.
Yeah, they were some sort of nameless mage, and they were like, "I'm Ditch." I was like, "Okay."
And I was like, it's Ditch.
Yeah.
But yes, we basically might as well have just met Ditch. There's no.
Yeah, we learn a little bit more about him. He was killed by Animander Rake, and now he's in here.
He meets some Tisty Andy.
Kataspala, and they talk a little bit about how Animander Rake's a cool guy, and they both are big fans. I just love the whole vibe in here. Love being in the sword, you know?
Hate everything about the sword. Hate everything about this. But, so, Kataspala
Kataspala.
You had it.
Kataspala
Mm-hmm.
is blind.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe has no legs.
Yes.
Maybe. And he's like, hey, I'm here because Animander. First of all, Andarist? Isn't he fine?
No, Andarist is
Andarus
dead.
died.
By Animander Rake?
No.
No.
Andarist.
By the Tisty Eater
Yes.
So,
when they attacked to get the Throne of Shadow.
okay, but then why then, great, glad we cleared that up, did this man say that he blinded himself because of what Animander Rake did to Andarist and the wife?
Have you? Well, that I think they're talking about some old shit. I can't remember what though.
Okay, so he blinded himself for literally no reason.
Well. Okay. So Kataspala was related to Andarist's wife.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think Rake might have killed Kataspala's sister and then just attacked Andarist or something. But India, it was my understanding as well, because in the book he says, Ditch asks, "Who blinded you?" And Kataspala says, "When I saw what he'd done to his brother, to my sister. So I just assumed that he meant he killed them both, but.
No, because Andrist was alive. Maybe it was the banishing Andrist to the First Throne or something. Maybe not First Throne, the Shadow Throne area. Maybe he just. I mean, I don't know. India. I don't know if you've noticed, India. Every one of these books is super dramatic about everything. So he could have just not invited them to the barbecue, and he would have been like, "I can't believe this," and stabbed his own eyes out.
That's it. And then Absalar. What the
Okay,
fuck?
wait. There was certainly a lot of shit of them just of Kataspala just saying a bunch of shit. But the one thing that did stick out to me was the tattoos that Kataspala has put across all of these dead bodies that I guess if you look at them from really high up, they make some sort of pattern. And I think Ditch is meant to be the center of that pattern. I think that's why he calls him the Nexus. I don't fucking know what this means.
Ditch has some power or something. There's
Ditch
some
is a
vestiges.
mage, I think.
So they're gonna use him as the conduit to maybe make an explosion and get out of there, or just kind of destroy this warren inside of Dragonpur. Some bullshit.
Yeah, definitely some bullshit.
And then Absalar's
Definitely
sneaking around, thinking about how she should have.
How did she get in there?
This is not our Absalar, India. This is the actual goddess Absalar.
That's what I thought.
Absalara. That is the distinction. There's an extra A at the end.
That's the
god who, and she was murdered. She was killed by Animander Rake. I don't know, thousands of years ago. Who fucking knows?
I remember that person. I thought I was thinking, I was like, this doesn't make sense because Absalar couldn't even. Why would she be here? But then I was like, maybe she is. Maybe I missed it. It wouldn't be the first time that I missed something huge happening.
No, that was my bad, and also the Tor reread said Absalar, not Absalara.
Mm-hmm.
I would have thought they were the same. Well, yeah. I don't know. That's it. That's all we have for that in the sword PB. Anything else? You were really hyped up about this sword, so I just want to make sure. Is there anything else that happened in this sword that we want to touch on? Any thoughts?
I don't know why you're
Final
attacking
thoughts?
me right now on the podcast, Ninja.
I am not attacking you. I am just making sure that you are comfortable with where we are going.
Knives are out for PB today, and I feel like I've been doing nothing but supporting you on the show. So
more like Glass Onion is out.
I was gonna say, damn it!
The title
I was
of
gonna
the
make
new
a joke
Knives
about
Out
it.
mystery. I'm so
Cannot
psyched
wait.
for it.
Cannot wait.
Shout out. Moving on. Back to the city of Blue Flame.
Where should we go? I don't even. There's just like a lot. This is where there's like a lot of random shit going on.
Yeah. Ask Josh what he thinks about all the assassin stuff.
Josh, what do you think about all the assassin stuff?
I'm glad you asked, India. I think can you specify, actually?
Yeah, all of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Number one, think it's very funny how many of, no, I'll say it. They're not real. I think it's very funny how many of them died in the attack on the bridge burners. Comedy gold, we are going to go in with overwhelming force. That way there's no casualties. What's that? Actually, we just, half of the guild gets obliterated in one battle. Great. Love it. Number two, I just think they really need to talk about their power structure. We haven't really seen it much, but I would really like to know a lot about the structure of this organization. Is it like, are there coven, small groups? We know a lot about the claw ship, but we don't know anything about this group. And I would love to know more about that. That's the stuff that gets me going. I know India would hate it and would skip over it, as she rightly should. But I would love to see all that. So, and that's about it, because there's not much in the assassins here.
All right. Yeah, cool. Then we see Thordy and Gaz. There's really not much there. At what point, though, did she find out that he was killing people to spare her life?
It really feels like she's always known, right?
Yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea about that.
I have a question for the podcast. Imagine, if you will, you loved someone with all of your heart. They were your one and only forever. Okay, imagine that. How many people could they kill before you went, I probably gotta go report that?
One. If it's just walking around streets murdering someone for no reason, one person
But isn't
dead.
it for a reason?
Yeah, so they don't kill you.
To spare your life.
Yeah.
It's for you.
I'd give them at least two.
That's even.
I was going to say 7.
Fool me once.
I was going to say 7.
India.
I've always said at least. I said at least.
That's even worse. You've discovered I'm out on the streets. I've murdered 6 people. You're like, Peter, that's unacceptable. And I would go, well, in fact, this actually is because of you. I did this to save your life. I killed these 6 people, so I didn't murder you.
See, but here's the deal. I'm a lot. And so in some ways I get it. You know what I mean? And so if it's a one-off thing and they're, now they get to recharge, it's not going to happen for 14 more years.
Also, if you really love me so much that you want to kill me, but you don't because you love me, isn't that just the greatest compliment anybody could give anyone?
I'm with India on that.
No, it is in fact not. And I would actually discourage that to be.
I've learned, though, very recently that I am one toxic little thing. So this is not the question for me. In fact, I would be over the moon if somebody said, I'm just killing people for you. I would say, really? Like me?
You did that for me?
you.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
But my moral compass has never been super accurate.
I have to tell you, part of me is really keying into the Gaz Thordy plot line. As just
I wish it was more.
Yeah.
and it just seems. Did you say you wish it was you?
No,
She said, "Wish there was more."
I wish there was more.
Oh, you're looking for a Gaz is what you were saying.
I'll take at this point. I'll take what I can get. Yeah.
Well, no, I just feel it's I don't know. I'm really interested, and I agree with you guys. I wish there was more. Interested in the dynamics around this marriage, around I guess the gender roles they're playing. I don't know. It's interesting, making me think. Don't worry about it, bro.
Yeah, agreed.
Just be a plant. What a good message.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really get what that means, but I'll take it. We could all focus on being a plant.
Yeah.
So then we move on to meet up with Lady
Wait. Sorry, really quick before we do that, I just want to touch on the one city guard or like whatever who talks to like the guy whose job it is to like pick up the dead bodies and is just like, cells exist. You know, cells, they're really, really tiny and they make up everything.
Yes.
It was so fucking funny to me. And then the guy's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It was good shit. I just wanted to really bring that up because it was a nothing moment, but really, really tickled me.
Very throwaway thing.
I loved it too.
Lady Envy time.
Yes.
A Lady Envy's in the
Envy.
house.
Well, really, there's not much for the Lady Envy meetup, but it was just nice to revisit and come back to her. Anybody can explain to me again who Fisher is would be awesome.
He's the bard from
Not
the
Traveler.
bard.
Traveler and Fisher are two different people.
They are.
Correct.
Yes.
Fisher Keltath is the bard from the bar that Bridgeburners were in. He also writes half of the epilogues of the entire series, and it's being revealed. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's helping Duiker write a song about the chain of dogs.
I think we should all go around the table. Cutter's gonna go meet up with Chalice. Good idea, bad idea.
Bad idea.
But also the right idea. But like bad idea.
It depends. Does Chalice have feelings for Cutter? Because if not, Cutter's just gonna get his feelings hurt.
Also, hey, real quick. Cutter is wrong, correct? About, because, it really feels, in my opinion, implied a couple chapters ago when she fucks that dude, that she has not had legit sex before. And then Cutter's like, oh, she's invited me to this house. I bet she fucks there all the time. He's off the mark there, right? Or in like the mysterious vague time between these two events, has Chalice just gone like full bore, this is my fuck house?
He's probably wrong. I don't know.
I feel like he's got to be wrong.
But I also don't think that, I also think she could have a secret house that's not just for fucking.
Well, she definitely has that. It's just, the question is, yeah.
AJ, you didn't really say if you thought it was a good idea or not.
I think, you know what? I'm going to say it's a good idea. Why not? What makes it a bad idea? Cutter can handle himself. I'm sure Cutter could kill fucking what's his name if it came to that.
I just feel like the whole ending of this is just kind of like whatever. So
To counter that, this whole sequence where they're talking about how it's okay to be sad sometimes made me cry. And I really loved it. So I'm sad sometimes, and I'm sorry if that's not okay to say on this show, you know?
that it's okay to cry.
Yeah, maybe it's okay to cry sometimes, you know?
It's okay to actually cry all the time. In fact, it's weird when people don't cry. I actually just kind of want to skip over all of the things that happen in Drujistan and just go right to Harlow. Thoughts?
Oh.
Does anybody feel like there was anything relevant that happened? There's a dead Segula. When did the Segula come back?
I don't know.
You know, they're
That
around.
was weird. And where does Lady Envy's Segula friends?
Well, I think, I don't remember who said it, but a few episodes ago, somebody said that they think the lady that Torvald is working for is Lady Envy. And I think that might be right.
I crushed it, yeah. I was very happy about that. Unless he's talking to some other mysterious new lady, but it really feels like that's the right answer.
That feels correct to me. There's Segula there. She's called a lady.
Mm-hmm.
So now these sisters are together. What is the point? There's just so many things that are happening, guys, that it's just like, for me, all of this stuff is happening, and yet I don't understand how it's connected at all, and thus it makes it very difficult for me to lead an episode.
I think what's happening is we're now in book 3 of this book, and we had just finished up like the Dying God plot line or whatever. So we're now like back to square one where we're setting up the players for whatever's going to happen for the second half of the book. So there's just a whole bunch of setup and like reintroduction to people and stuff. So I don't think it's unreasonable that it's just like, hey, what the fuck's going on?
I gotta say, your girl is just very overwhelmed with it. But such is life. So Harlow, honestly, this is stupid too.
Harlow talks to the guy who's in charge of like keeping track of him, and it's like, you got us both whipped because you lied about where you were going. Stop doing that. Just tell me the truth. And Harlow's like, here's a lie. And then the guy's like, well, don't stop lying to me. And then that's kind of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Still bummed that Harlow's a child slave, but yeah, that's kind of that whole bit.
Yep, and then the little underground guy has his legs, and they're figuring it out. So he'll come out soon, and then something will happen. Who knows what? Any ideas? Any ideas what that underground guy is? What he's gonna do? Who he is? What's the relevance? I don't know. Guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
Woo!
he knew Raced. They fought each other. Raced put him in the hole there,
I like Raced now though.
and then he found his old weapons. That was wild to me. I was like, I was agog, I think, at that moment. You know,
I wonder if he's bad.
he's looking for a throne, and we haven't met a good person looking for a throne yet. I don't think.
It's true.
That's true. And also if he got mixed up with Raced, who's kind of crazy, but also very funny. Raced is the
Yes.
funny one, right?
Raced is
Yeah.
he was the tyrant in Gardens of the Moon, and now he is just hangs out in the Azath. It's just like, I'm here, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I cried, and I just feel like no one else took a cry break, you know?
Just now.
Well, I mean, I guess just now, yeah.
Josh, when was the last time you cried?
It was
2005.
It was about a month ago, but before then, it was over a year.
See, Josh,
Do you think you'll cry on your wedding day?
It's possible.
I was surprised that you said about a month ago. I was like, Josh is not a frequent crier. I thought it was going to be so longer time.
No,
thought so
I got
too.
emotional
That's why
at
I
like an
asked.
end of year bank. I was giving awards at this end of year banquet, and I was getting a little emotional about my seniors.
Aw.
Yeah, but before then, over a year. So it's very hard for me to cry.
Well, you know what? It's not hard for us to do.
Move on to
Move
chapter
on
14.
to chapter
Thank-
14.
Nope. Thank our patrons on Patreon.
Okay.
I was so excited.
We would love to thank our beautiful, wonderful, loving, and sincere patrons who make it possible for everything that we do here
Wow.
at 10 very large books.
Nice.
Just kidding. 10 very big books. Ah, thank you, patrons. We love you so much. To Sophie. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Riley. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, James. Thank you, Amy. Thanks, Phil. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, James.
Thank you all so much for your support on Patreon. It really does mean a lot, and it really makes this show a sustainable thing, because this is my main source of income. Not this show specifically, but podcasting. So thank
For
you
a
all.
split second, I thought you meant this show, and I was like, I need to step it up. This is how AJ eats.
I mean, Josh, I would appreciate still if you stepped it up. You know, that would
No,
help. But
it's too late. It's too late now. You lost your shot.
there's Patreon episodes. Pete just put up a thing about Dungeons and Dragons, Rime of the Frostmaiden specifically, but I think also generally adventure books and D&D thoughts. So if you're interested in that, hop in there. And for just $1, you get access to the entire backlog of all of our content. So that's fun, of which there are like a dozen or so, plus a bunch of just like little things that Pete has recorded randomly on the across the world and posted without telling anybody. But all that being said, let's move on to chapter 14.
Chapter 14. Quell asks Gruntle to look into Hood's realm to see what's going on. Gruntle suggests they ask the corpse who came with them out of the warren. The dead man calls himself Cartographer and says that Hood, who has never commanded them, is now telling them to come. Quell and Gruntle enter Hood's realm, where they now both see the army of the dead marching. A Segula commander approaches them and tells them Hood does not intend to use the army against the living. Tok, Whiskey Jack, and Verkalion join them. Whiskey Jack says that Gruntle has lost all his followers, but that they are not in his realm. Tok says that the gate to where they march is closed to the living, and that Quell and Gruntle should stay away until the choice is taken from them. As Quell prepares a portal for their departure, an undead dragon rises from the barrow nearby and follows them through the portal and flies off. Traveler tells Samar and Karsa that something is happening. He says they're being tracked, not just by the Great Ravens, but by the Hounds of Shadow. Karsa goes off to confront the Hounds. Skintick recalls Andrus' death and his own. He asks Namander why they saved Clip, and Namander says Arantha said Clip is needed. In a deep cavern, Endist Salon meets with Andamander Rake. Rake talks to Endist about why he did what he did so long ago in Carcanis. He says without the blood of dragons, the Andi would be dust. Rake says he and Endist will find the strength to do what must be done. With Itkovian, Sirdaman asks if the Redeemer could summon the Talani Mass to fight Selind. Itkovian says he will not, that what he gave was a gift. Itkovian admits that if Selind defeats him, that it is his fault. He tells Sirdaman that believers second-guess the ones they claim to worship. And when asked what they're supposed to do in a god's silence, he says they have every choice in the world. Selind thinks to herself how the Samankelek has brought her clarity, and that she wants to grant the Redeemer that same clarity. On the path of the Hounds, Karsa runs into Shadowthrone and Cotillion. They try to warn Karsa of the crippled god, and Karsa says that his destiny is his own. Shadowthrone explains that he and Cotillion have also denied civilization. He warns Karsa not to get in Traveler's way, and Karsa says he and Traveler have an agreement to stay out of each other's way. Karsa flexes that he killed 2 Daragoth and leaves them. The Ascendants talk about how the spirits in Karsa's sword were proud. There's a huge storm heading toward the Trigal group, and Quell tells Mappo to get inside. They're storm riding.
So, Quell and Gruntle. I feel like I need to be very clear about the T in Gruntle.
Thank you.
Enter Hood's realm. Who do we see? Who do we find but no other than Top, Whiskey Jack, and some name Brucalion? Forgot about that guy. What are you guys thinking? How did you feel? What'd you think? Did you freak out?
I did.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. From my understanding, actually, what was your understanding of what they're doing, this army of dead, and where they're going, and why they're doing this? Because, to be fair, it's not clear, and I still have really no idea, but it seems like they're trying to do something not bad. So, what do you think, Josh?
I mean, it seems like they're gonna go fight something terrible, and it's something so terrible that to me, Talk is implying that the dead, when they die in this battle, will probably cease to exist or something awful. And so I can only imagine whatever happens at the end is not good for anybody. But definitely, I don't think they're gonna fight it's gonna be a good fight, you know?
Some might say they're fighting the good fight.
Yeah, some might.
Okay, yeah. Now, the dead really should cease to exist, though. So is it that bad if they die? I really wasn't expecting Whiskey Jack. That was such a pleasant surprise.
And they did a good job they called him by his rank a few times, and then I was like, there's something about that rank I'm forgetting, and then boom, there it is.
And then we got the Iskar Jarak Whiskey Jack drop, right?
Yes, they called him Iskar Jarak. Yes, they
shot 2 books ago or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, they did call him that.
Good job, bud.
Did I make that? Did I call that shot?
You really did.
You guys tiptoed
what
around
was the
it.
Shot?
The shot was that Whiskey Jack's new name is Iskar Jarak because that names get fucked up in Malazan.
Yeah, so Josh, you kind of touched on it. I'd be curious how quick in this whole sequence you guys were like put that whole thing together, you know?
Not as quick as I wish, because I've completely forgotten that I made that called shot. But,
it's really funny.
Yeah, but I mean, relatively quickly, I guess. More for me, it was more like Iskar Jarak. That's that YouTuber, and then I was like, wait a minute.
That's what I thought too. Is it not?
It is, but it's also Whiskey Jack.
Is that not his real name then?
His real name is not Iskar Jarak.
Don't you guys call him that?
Well, yeah, that's his handle.
Well, that's his like internet handle.
That's what he goes by online. He doesn't go by.
That's not on the birth certificate.
Yeah, he doesn't go by.
Didn't you talk to him? Like, didn't you like do a thing with him?
Yeah.
So what do you call him then?
I addressed him as Iskar Jarak because that's how he preferred to be addressed.
Shut the fuck up. That is crazy. I thought that was this man's name.
Imagine
No.
the coincidence. You're born one Iskar Jarek, and then halfway through your life, you pick up this series by Canadian author Steve Erickson.
Me.
And then, what the fuck?
Is this about us?
Is this about me?
Who is it? Gruntle has the thought, Iskar Jarek. I seem to recall he had a different name. And then I was like, oh, okay. Josh was right. So I guess thank you, Josh, for telling me, because I wouldn't have realized until they called him Whiskey Jack.
I'll have to go back and find that episode.
Good luck.
Reflect on how smart I am.
Yeah. I do also want to say here, we Gruntle talks to a Segula, who I think is the leader of the Revenants. So I guess.
Oh, that's
and
a
and
good
we know
call.
Whiskey Jack was involved with the Cult of Hood and stuff. So I think
I knew that, and I assumed that was one of the reasons why him and Talk were at the forefront of this was because of the Cult of Hood.
So I guess they're being led by the Revenants, which I just realized now that's why that conversation was relevant earlier about the Revenants.
Oh, yeah, smart.
Yeah.
Great.
Good shit.
Moving on. Then we're leaving. We're getting out of this little hellhole that we're in, only to be followed by an undead dragon. Who is it? I don't know. Why did it come out? I don't know. How is that allowed? I don't know. Why can't just anybody walk out then? I don't know. But this dragon did come, and we, I guess, don't know what that means. So, cool.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know where it came out, right?
Of a barrow.
Right, but we don't know where, right?
Well, it's in
I
the
thought it was
warren
in-
that the Trigall Trade Guild are with.
Yeah, I thought it was in Hood.
Yeah, he came out of a
Scary.
barrow in Hood's realm. They mentioned, they were like, well, these are some weird hills here. It's almost like a barrow. Boom, dragon pops out of one.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. Okay, got it. I thought it like left the Hood's realm.
To be fair, I could be wrong.
It did leave. I mean, yeah, it left Hood's realm and went through the same portal as, Gruntle and Quell.
Okay, so now it's in the real world.
Well, no, Quell and
No.
Gruntle are not in the real world. They're in a separate warren, but we don't know what warren yet.
Got it. Jesus Christ. Okay. Thanks.
Right. Cool. So yeah, now there's just this undead random dragon somewhere that we don't know.
Right.
And then we check in with the favorites, of course, Traveler, Samar, and Karsa. Traveler and Karsa, I'm surprised, are like fine,
They're bros.
and they're being followed by Hounds of Shadow. I don't know where they're going though. Where are they going? Traveler, Karsa.
They're going to Rujistan.
Rujistan? Yeah, okay.
Is everybody are we thinking that we're gonna end up
Yeah,
we're all just ending
yeah.
up in Durgistan again then. We're just coming back
Well,
home.
I don't know. It's tough because we're really set up in two big locations because there's also fucking Pale. Is that what it's called? Pale?
Mhm.
Yeah. So there's also Pale because that's where like the Andorus troop is going. But you know how these books do. Maybe their path takes them through to Rujistan and they'll just stop there. Also, real quick, Animator Rake definitely going to kill himself. Right? Definitely going to sacrifice himself and Endus Salon in order to break some fucking Tisty Andy curse.
Well, I think Endist is going to kill Animander, but he knows this.
Oh.
Because in the very beginning, as soon as he talks to Endus Salon, he's like, hey, come with me. You're going to betray me. And Endis
Yeah,
is like,
you're right.
"What?"
You're right. You're so right, AJ.
That's what I think's going to happen, but that also seems like it's too obvious.
No, it's got to be, though.
We'll see.
I honestly just even thinking about, and Animander Rake is the one with the sword, correct?
Yes.
And so they're trying to get out of the sword,
Mm-hmm.
and now there's this man that's also going to betray him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just putting together some puzzle pieces there. Were you going to say something, AJ?
Well, I was gonna ask what you think's gonna happen to the sword.
Oh, that's a great question.
I feel like it's going to break.
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
That's what I was thinking too. It's gonna blow up or something.
Yeah.
Maybe Endist kills Animander Rake with the sword and that makes it explode or something.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Ah.
I don't know.
Because Draconis was killed with the sword, so we know that the person wielding the sword being killed doesn't change anything.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
But now there's a whole bunch more dead people in it, and there's some sort of symbol or something. So maybe it's like we just need Animander's blood, and then that'll complete the ritual, and we'll all be free or something. I don't
Who
fucking know.
knows? That's on brand for this fucking series.
Yeah.
I was wondering when we were going to come back to in this thing to Clip and all of them, because I don't know, Clip is weird, and
Yes.
I wonder how and why he's still alive. But do you guys have any ideas as to why they what is going on with this Clip storyline? And I genuinely am unsure. Also, where are they? Let's just kind of touch base here.
I don't know. Now that they've done their shit, I'm very lukewarm on them. I would like them to get where they're going, and I would like Clip to die, personally.
And I agree. Absolutely. Clip fucking sucks. He also just like randomly kills like a ton of people all the time, and it's just kind of frustrating.
Here's a counterpoint, though. Isn't Clip the most interesting member of the party? I feel like I've become a Clip fan, and I just want to share that because I feel like everyone else in that party is jealous of him. Is maybe how I would say. You know.
I'm not even gonna talk back. I'm not even gonna respond to that.
Wow, Josh.
I just feel like PB. You're always like, oh my god, I can't believe these people killed these people. They're so bad. They're so awful, and I hate them. And yet, Clip.
You say, I hear you, but in my mind, Clip has a very good fashion sense, and I think that should be taken into account.
I was going to say, Pete thinks Clip reads as hot, so that's fine that Clip kills people.
Yeah.
What about all the jewelry? Don't you think he accessorizes well,
I do, yeah.
He does have those rings.
Yeah.
See, and you have a lot of rings. I think if you kill someone, maybe that could be okay,
Well,
and then you got to tell Pete it was for Pete.
What
I did this for
I
you.
I tell you, that would be very upsetting to
what if it was 7 people and I did it for you? Would you turn me in?
100% I would turn you in. There would be not a hesitation in my heart.
Wow.
I'm glad I know where you stand.
Well, that's a pretty bad thing. So, fantasy murder's a different story, but
Pete, did you cry?
I feel like I really brought the mood down with Peter would turn in a murderer. So sorry.
Yeah, I just never knew my best friend was a narc, I guess. Yeah, that's where it comes down to.
Sorry for Peter not wanting to be complicit in murder, okay? God.
What'd you guys feel about Skintick's like deep depression? What'd you guys think about that?
I was not. Well, I mean, some of the funniest people are the saddest, so I guess it's kind of on brand.
Yeah, he was making us all laugh, but underneath the smile, AJ.
Yeah. I did really like when Nimander's like, I just think maybe I shouldn't be alive anymore. And Skintick's like, no, I feel like that. You can't feel like that.
Yeah. We can't both be depressed.
Yeah.
And, Nimander, it's not how this works.
Yeah. Anyway.
Done with that. There was really nothing there. Nothing of substance, nothing interesting. Moving on to the meat and potatoes. Endis. Nope, not that. That's done. We did that. I don't want to go back into Endis and Animander. Are we good with that? We kind of talked about it already.
So what's the meat and potatoes, Inge?
The meat and potatoes is very freaking clearly Itkovian and Celind. And I thought Celind was good. So what happened?
Oh no, Celind turned real bad last chapter.
Yeah, they pumped her full of that. They pumped her full of that drug, and she went crazy. And now she's dancing.
The two. So there were so at the barrow of the Redeemer, shit started going bad, right? And then we had Monk Rat and the other guy who I can't remember his name. I think it starts with a G, but they were from the Panion army, and they were part of the group of people who were just like wreaking havoc at the barrow, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Spinock takes Celind and is like, gets her better, and then she has this whole revelation of the Redeemer, and she's like, okay, I have to go talk to the Redeemer and see what's up. So then she heads back to the barrow of the Redeemer and doesn't think about that there's still a bunch of bad people there. And then Monk Rat and I still can't remember his name capture her and make her drink salmon kellic, which is the blood of the dying god or whatever that drives you mad. So she went she went like nutso, and Seerdamen and Celind had a huge fight at the end of the last book, or the last section of this book.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
No, you pretty much did it.
Well, she sucks now and needs to be put down. Who's gonna do it? I don't know. Seerdamen? Is Helani Mass? I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking?
Oh, you know what? And you know why I think you missed it, because that was the episode that you and Pete were together. So I think you were too enamored being around PB.
Yeah.
Aj, I would love to know if how this Ikovian struck you. I feel like you're someone who often brings up on the pod the rhetoric around gods and worship and the relationship between gods and their followers, or ideas and their followers.
Yeah.
And, Ikovian here is speaking a bit to his experience. I just wonder how it struck you.
Yeah. I thought it was, I always like you said, I always like these conversations, I think. And I like Ikovian as well. So that also helps. But I thought it was interesting. Hold on. When Ikovian brings up this idea of he says something and Seer Doman says I'm not one of your believers. I don't worship you. And Ikovian says, precisely. It is the curse of believers that they seek to second guess the one they claim to worship. And Seer Doman says, in silence, what choice do they have? And Ikovian responds, every choice in the world, my friend, which I thought was interesting. Also, he calls him by his real name, which is sweet. He calls Seer Doman by Segda Travos, I thought that was cool, which is neat. But I think this idea that believers second guess the ones they claim to worship, I think is accurate, because hence the reason there are there are dozens of different sects of Christianity or whatever Christianity who pick and choose the things out of the Bible or whatever version of the Bible they are referencing. They're okay, this is the correct one because this aligns most with with how I feel. I don't know. I think that's a pretty good point, that true believers, quote unquote, or it's impossible to be a true believer usually, because people are always trying to impose their own will and feelings to these deities or God, whatever they're worshiping.
Yeah,
interesting. I feel like I read the passage in kind of a different sense.
Let me hear it, baby.
Well, I mean, to me, I read it more as in regards to Ikovian speaking about what do people do when their God doesn't answer their prayers,
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I felt like Ikovian was looking for some sort of absolution here, some sort of abdication of his responsibility, and saying that, well, these people could do whatever they want. They don't have to pray to me.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't respond and they keep praying, that's not on me, and I don't know. I don't really think of my spirituality like that. And I feel like he's presenting a very strange idea there. So
I see what you're saying about he's kind of looking for abdication of well, it's not my fault I don't respond. But I think he's also saying that's kind of that is the point is of that, it's the believer's curse to second guess the whatever, because if your God doesn't respond or whatever, then you're supposed to take some meaning out of that. It's oh, well, then they're not meant to respond. So then the choice is left up to you what you do, because it's not up to God or religion or whatever to tell you what is good and what is right. I think Ikovian's saying that is up to the individual person, and people can just choose to be good. They don't need me to tell them to do good. We don't need religion to be this moral compass. People can just be good,
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I guess I can't get away from, I feel like Ikovian's I don't know, shirking responsibility in a way,
Yeah, but I also don't think he I don't know. He didn't ask to be a god, but I think that was kind of his relationship with what was it, Fenrir?
Yeah, Fenrir.
I think that was his relationship with Fenrir, especially in the later years where Fenrir just stopped talking to them. He's okay, well, it's just up to me to, take the suffering of all this Talani Mass and just, unless Fenrir tells me otherwise, I think this is Fenrir's will and I think this is the right and correct thing to do. So I'm going to do it, So I think that's the philosophy that he had in life and the philosophy he takes into his ascendance, his goddom or whatever. But I can see where you're coming from, that it is just no, it's not my problem.
But doesn't it sound like he sat in silence and, held the faith, so to speak, or held to his ideals. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like here he's well, why are people worshiping me if I'm not responding to them? Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's I think he's responding to this idea of like Salind, who like wants an answer or whatever, or these, you know, these worshipers who are praying to him. And he's like, if I'm not responding and they want me to respond, like, I'm not gonna, they should find a new God. Like, that's not how we roll here at Redeemer LLC. You know, we're not about responding here. We're just about doing the thing. So if people can't deal with that, then that's what he's saying. It's the curse of them to second guess. So, you know, they must think, oh, there's a purpose for him not responding. I must not have worshipped well enough. And he owes me an answer, which I think is he's just saying, like, that's not true. That's not what gods and deities are there for. But I feel like we're going to keep talking in circles. So I think maybe...
No, I mean, I don't really even, I think you said a bunch of stuff I kind of really vibe with. I just think I was really tuned into the motivation of that. But I definitely get, like, maybe it's just my baggage. I definitely get, like, very Christian vibes off this whole thing, you know? Or maybe it's just my Catholic upbringing. I don't know. I definitely...
Yeah, I think it's just generally religion, maybe. I don't know.
Honestly, I just took a siesta.
You took a siesta. I could tell. Me and AJ were chatting when it was really just got me and it. Yeah.
The
I was having a great time listening.
If I had any steam in my sails before or wind, that's gone now. So because the Hounds were like following Carson and all that fun jazz, he runs into his boys, Shadowthrone and Cotillion, where they try to tell him, oh my God, don't go, you know, loving up on the crippled god. And he's like, been there, done that. I already knew that. But thanks. I don't know. This just all like, I feel like Cotillion and Shadowthrone just told Karsa things that he already knew. And then Karsa was like, yeah, I know. We're all good here. You guys, me, Traveler, we know we're boys. We're working. We got this. And we'll be on our way, and you guys go do your thing. You don't gotta like follow us around. Like, we're totally cool here.
I have to tell, I don't know about you guys. I feel like I walked away from this conversation hating Shadowthrone and Cotillion even more, you know?
Yes. Yeah, they were a little much, for sure.
Really?
What do you mean by that?
Well, they're like, they're always they're always hinting. They never want to really say anything. They're always acting like they're guiding, but in this case, like, you know, Karsa's just like, yeah, I fucking got it. It's pretty simple stuff to not mess up here. All right, peace. And then he leaves, and they're like, ha! We really showed him. They're a little insufferable sometimes, especially when it's just the two of them afterwards.
Yeah, I guess I see it. They're very insufferable and smug, and, you know, the fact that they're in this conversation being like, we're the same, Karsa, you know, he's like... was enslaved, broke free, and was like, okay, this all sucks, civilization sucks, let's be a revolutionary and destroy civilization. And these guys built a huge empire, ran armies, conquered countries for years and years and years. And then at the end are like, actually, we're above it all. We're actually transcending civilization. I'm above society.
Yeah.
They're not the fucking same. Do you know what I mean? These guys are not the fucking same.
They had to pull themselves up by their bootstraps to get this empire started. You know, they had
I knew you were about to say that, and I hate it.
Murdered people.
Yeah.
I just think, like, they're obviously, they mean what they say, that they've, like, left civilization behind, but they've left it behind in very different ways. And I do not that, you know, I have my problems with the Karsa. I just, like, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really mind them that much. But then again, I don't really pay attention to anything that they say because it never makes sense. So
India, we're on the same page.
Yeah, definitely.
Anytime they talk, I'm like, whatever I don't get, sure. And then afterwards, when Karsa leaves, they're like, it feels like after Karsa leaves, they both just go, oh, they were just like, you know, afraid of him.
Big sigh of relief.
I do like those scenes where like the face drops, so to speak, and it's like the two of them just like, ugh, you know, chatting as friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, you know, it's kind of crazy that we've been around these people for like the entire series and they're like pulling the strings, and yet nothing that we've seen has really come to like any resolution for them.
Well, I also just feel like it's like they're pulling the strings by, we read a whole book and then at the end someone's like, well, you know, Shadowthrone like playing that whole thing. And you're like, okay, sure.
If you say so.
Yeah.
And then there's a huge storm, and then it's over.
Yeah, we're storm chasing, baby.
That's right. Bill Paxton's out here. Sharon Stone's out here. We're on the hunt.
Wow.
Is that a movie reference?
I've never seen it, but yes, it was.
Twister, baby. Good movie.
Wild
Never
time.
heard of it. But I do know who Sharon Stone is.
There you
Of
go.
course. She plays the villain
Cool.
in Catwoman.
Oh.
Sharon Stone's
Didn't know
most
that.
iconic role.
Halle Berry's Catwoman?
Halle Berry's Catwoman.
Wow.
There's not another one.
I don't know. Maybe there's
My
more.
heart, in my heart, anyway. Not whole movie about Catwoman.
Oh, okay. Let's wrap up this recording, huh?
Yeah, I hate this.
This is a long one. We're about at 2 hours.
Yeah, we'll cut down
No, well,
much,
yeah, we
much less than that.
Wow,
Poor AJ.
much. A lot of unusable material in this one.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you all for listening today. That about sums us up. That's it. AJ, Peter, Josh, take us home.
Wow. I
mean, that's-
you're sunk back into the couch. You're done.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do my regular credits thing, so like we could.
Yeah. You know, thanks for listening to the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
See ya.
Wow.
When I say come, you say passion. Come!
Passion. Hello, everybody. Producer AJ here, and I'm so sorry for the week late episode, but don't worry. That just means you get back-to-back episode release weeks next week as well. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you'd like to give us your thoughts or feelings about this or any of our episodes, you can always email us at 10verybigbooks@gmail.com or tweet us at 10verybigbooks, or you can head on over to our Discord, bit.ly/VBB Discord. That's capital V, capital B, capital B, capital D Discord. That link will also be in the show notes. Thank you to all of our wonderful patrons over on Patreon. If you'd like to financially support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/10verybigbooks. That link is also in the show notes. And as always, thank you so very much to Dan Gesrick for making our spectacular cover art. You can follow him on Twitter at @A_W_DanG for the hottest Bobby Vanilla Day takes. And of course, the wonderful music in today's episode, including the remixed intro and outro track, is by the one, the only Amaranthin from his album Simulant Rain, which you can find along with his other music on bandcamp.com. Links to their pages will be in the show notes, and 10 Very Big Books will be back in just 1 week on July 8th, talking about chapters 15 and 16 of Toll the Hounds. I'll talk to you then, and thank you so much for listening.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna
Happy
start
birthday.
using it now. Thank you.
Happy Father's Day, I should say. Shout out to my dad. What up? We
Nice.
recorded
Happy
one on
Father's Day.
Mother's Day too. Both my parents getting shout outs.
Yeah.
I'll shout out, I guess, to mine then. Shout out, guys.
Well, you don't have to shout out.
They I want to shout them. They're fine.
Okay.
I mean, do they deserve
yeah.
an entire day? Does anyone?
Does anyone? Yeah.
Does anyone?
Wow, Martin Luther King
Anyway.
Jr. doesn't deserve an entire day.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, Pete. Okay, Pete.
Okay, Peter.
God.
Coming in hot.
I'm not the one who said it in.
Listen. You were. You actually were.
I think some people should be celebrated for a whole day, and I'll stand by that position. Okay.
And in fact,
Wow.
happy Juneteenth. Speaking of celebrating,
There we
me.
go.
Jesus.
Happy Juneteenth, indeed. You know, celebrating
Thank
two holidays.
you. Thank you. 1865, baby. Anyway, yeah, Juneteenth. It's who knew what Juneteenth was before like 2 years ago? I didn't.
Not me.
I had the distinct pleasure of learning what Juneteenth was live on a radio show in college. Because we were just like looking up holidays for the year, and we were all like, what the hell's Juneteenth? That's a silly name. And then looked it up on the radio show. We're like, oh fuck. Why didn't we learn about this holiday in school? It's a fun thing.
I can tell you why.
Break it down for us, Josh.
It's called
Yeah.
racism, AJ.
Oh, shit.
What's racism? Not in America. Not in my country.
We had a whole movement, all right? You people got what you needed.
Whoa. Whoa.
Man.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Josh is just committing a
Slash
crime.
S, please.
We're coming back. We're coming. Oh my god.